Hello, my name's Lizzie. I'm Anglican. In just under 5 weeks' time, I'm going to be moving into a convent ready to become a postulant. One of the questions that I've been asked the most is the kind of thing like, what do nuns wear at night, or can you take any of your own clothes with you, or that kind of thing. So here's a video on that whole topic.
I will hold your people in my heart.
This is where there's an overlap with priests, because this kind of thinking about our identity and our uniform was something we thought about when I was training to be a priest, because you wear a certain uniform as a priest or as a nun or a monk, to show that you are a monk or a nun or a priest. But at the same time, like, whether or not you're wearing that uniform, you still are a priest or a monk or a nun. But I suppose you could say that habits are a form of uniform, because they're letting other people know that you are committed to this life, and that in the religious life context you have taken these vows. So they're letting you know kind of who you are, and that you're available to help people, or that you're available to talk to in that capacity maybe. And I guess it's just a visible a witness, a bit like when street pastors wear their uniform. When you're out and about in the community, they know here's a Christian, and here's his form of ministry they have. So it just makes you easily identifiable, I guess.
But in a way, the wearing your uniform is for when you're at work in that particular role. So just like if you work for the police, or if you're a nurse, when you're not kind of on duty, then you're not necessarily going to, you're not going to be wearing that uniform. And it doesn't mean you're not a nurse or you're not a police officer, but it just means you're not on duty. And the same goes for a lot priests and people in religious life, that quite often, if they're not on duty, as it were, then they're not wearing the uniform that is linked to their role. So a lot of priests, when it's their day off, they'll choose to wear their own clothes if they're normally wearing a clerical shirt or something like that. And that's quite important. And we discussed this a lot when I was training to be a priest, because although you feel bad about turning someone away from having an important conversation if something really bad happens to them on your day off, or obviously you always want to be there for people, but for the sake of you having a proper rest that you need in order to do your ministry, it's good for you to go a bit incognito on your day off. So it is quite good if you're walking around the community on your day off to not wear your, in this case, priest uniform, and so that you can just be kind of off duty and not have so many people come up to you because they think you are on duty, if that makes sense. And that the same goes for people in religious life. I don't know what other communities do. I know that not every community has the sisters having a day off. So for a start, the community I'm looking at is different from others in that respect. And I don't know what other sisters do when it's their holiday days. But the community I'm looking at, they do encourage you, at least on your days off. I don't know about holiday days, but it probably is the same. But that you wear your own clothes if you normally wear a habit, because they say it's really important for you just to have a rest and a break. And say you were to walk into a city centre or just around your community wearing a habit, you're more likely to have people coming up to you or wanting to have conversations with you. And for the sake of being able to have good conversations with people in the week, you actually need one day of not, so that you can have a rest and restore yourself. So for a start, when it comes to days off, or possibly holiday days too, the sisters are encouraged to have a set of their own little mufti, as we call it in this country. I don't know if that translates to America, but a set of our own, your own clothes, like just like jeans and a t-shirt or whatever, so that you're not wearing a habit on your day off. And then the other time that you're not on duty really is kind of overnight, so that there's no reason to wear a habit or something, or kind of nun uniform overnight. But again, that there might be some orders where you get up in the night to pray, and I think there are some orders where they have a kind of special nighttime type habit, but because you're getting up in the middle of the night to go into chapel and stuff. And again, I think quite a few years ago there was a kind of nun nightgown and nightcap that people had to wear, but all the communities that I've known personally over the last 15 or so years, they've said that you don't have any kind of nun uniform in terms of what you wear like after the silence after like Compline at night. So you just bring your own pajamas, or just bring your own stuff from home into the convent. And the same goes for if you're like me and get cold in winter or something, then you can just bring your own, anything that you wear under your habit, you can just bring your own in, because it doesn't, as long as you're wearing the uniform on top, it doesn't matter what you're wearing underneath. So for example, in winter, I've seen sisters wearing like long sleeve t-shirts underneath their habit just to keep warm. Maybe if you're going to see the sleeve of it, you're not going to want to wear something like fluorescent or bright pink or something that's going to stick out. But what you wear under your habit, I don't think it matters. Going back to the pajamas thing, one of my friends from a religious community, I was talking with her quite a few years ago, and I was asking her, like, do nuns have a kind of uniform pajamas, or do they wear what they like? And she was saying, well, in our community we just wear what we like. And she was a sister who wore her own clothes on her day off each week, so I was used to seeing this sister in a habit all week, and then on a Saturday she'd put her habit in the wash, and then she'd just be walking around in her jeans and sweatshirt, and it took me a while to adjust to that because I was so used to seeing her in a habit. But she said that in her community that they liked the fact that they could wear their own pajamas, because they're in uniform all the rest of the time. This was their chance to wear, and like, just their personality came out in their choice of pajamas. So she was talking about this one sister who wore like the brightest kind of neon 70s t-shirts and stuff at night, because that was just her personality, and so at least she still got to express her personality in that way, because I guess our clothes do express our personality quite a lot. So all of that actually, although they sound like quite superficial questions, like what do nuns wear at night or on their day off, they're actually linked to really important subject about identity. And also I've got this book that I read years ago. I don't know if it's going to come up right to front now. Being a Priest Today. And I was just flicking through this because actually some of the beginning of this book is quite relevant to this whole topic of your identity and uniform and stuff like that. But in here they're saying that actually our identity as Christians is rooted in something far deeper than what we do. But before, even deeper than your identity to your particular vocation, like your identity as a teacher or a mum or a priest or a nun, even deeper than that is and that's more about what you do. Even deeper than that is your vocation of just who you are before what you do. So my vocation is to be Lizzie, and also because Lizzie was made by God to be in relationship with God, then also my vocation, or my deepest vocation, is to be Lizzie in relationship with God. And so our vocation most deeply is just to be us and to be Christians, and to live out our baptism vocation. And so this book was just reminding us that it's really important that you remember that your deepest vocation is just who you are called to be in relationship with God, before anything of like what you do for God or out of that relationship. So it was just reminding you not to let your identity get so caught up in what you do. But I just see this whole thing about this community I'm looking at pointing out the importance of wearing different clothes, or your own clothes on your day off, and the fact that religious communities seem to just let you bring in your own pajamas and all that. And just thinking about that sister I mentioned that found pajamas was her way of just being her and expressing her identity. That to me just points out something quite important, that even if you're a nun or a monk, it reminds you that actually you've got although that is a big part of your identity and your Christian calling, you've got something even deeper and more central than that, and that is simply to be you, and simply to be a baptized Christian, even before anything else that God calls you to do on top of that. I hope that made some kind of sense.